Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching Shadow and Bone, Season 1, Episode 1, A Searing Burst of Light. Shadow and Bone is here. I am a huge Grishaverse fan. I probably mispronounce everything when I read the books, but I have read all of the books. This is one of my absolute favourite worlds and series, and I'm so excited to see two of those book series brought to life. If you have never, obviously if you're watching this reaction I imagine you've seen the show, so if you are not a book reader I will do my best. I will not be planning on spoiling. I will put a disclaimer if I think when I'm editing the YouTube version if I spoil anything, but I will keep my reactions spoiler free, and if in my review portion I'm going to spoil something, I'll try and have like a secondary part of the review that's spoilery and the first part won't be. But I am just excited to see the adaptation, what they've done with it. I'm getting better with the years at sort of separating adaptations from the original material, like if things are a little bit different, and I'm just really excited to see how they're going to mash Six of Crows with the Shadow and Bone trilogy. And mostly I'm excited to see some of my favourite characters brought to life and this world brought to life. It just looks fantastic. I haven't watched the most recent trailer because I didn't want to see too much. I watched the initial promo, I've seen some of the pictures, and it just looks amazing. You can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. You get those 2 weeks in advance, and I'm actually going to be giving on unedited on Patreon, you're getting episodes 1, 2 and 3 all before Thursday, and then the reactions will be out every Thursday. So when you're watching this on YouTube, you can already get the first 3 episodes unedited on Patreon, and you can get the first 2 episodes edited on Patreon is what you get. So you get unedited 2 weeks, 3 words. I'm just so excited about this, I'm sorry. You can get the unedited 2 weeks in advance, the edited 1 week in advance, and here we are. Let's go. I'm so happy right now.
When I was young, I was afraid of the dark.
Oh my god.
When I got older,
Why not go around?
Read them up. The north want our Grisha dead. The south guards its mountains. We have nowhere else to go.
Yep.
Now work on your shading, girl.
I love this. I'm
Pencil in your hand.
I'm old enough to know the only way out is through.
oh my god.
We are never going to see it go away.
To even one person who isn't scared of that.
I bet I know someone. Mal.
Hmm.
He isn't afraid of anything.
Alina, your feelings are showing.
You'd be surprised.
Oh.
Stay away from him.
Oh, what? You can draw me where I see her.
Or I'll cut you.
Mm-hmm.
What's this?
Hello, Mal. What are you up to?
Come on, come on. You'll be alright, Liney. I'm sure we'll find out.
How about it? Just you and me.
Oh. This Grisha certainly thinks he's better than everybody else. This world is really here. Your feelings are showing.
Our tent's got moved. Grisha wanted more space.
Your little friend from Karamzin.
Oh, she doesn't want to be your little friend.
How is that run?
He talks about you all the time.
Sergeant Yuri Teplov.
Everyone, don't let the fear show.
Valian Oretsev.
Oh.
You're lying.
Rifleman Balek Tapenyo.
Has to be an error. Has to be.
Didn't sound like an error.
So different, because in the books they were all just going across, that was the point. So they definitely seem to be, I'll get you in a moment, get it down. They definitely seem to be suggesting that it's almost impossible to go through the fold, rather than like people do it fairly regularly but often lose a few along the way. I don't know, it's interesting, but oh my god, get it down. We're in Canada! Sorry, I'm just so excited to see these worlds.
Let me see that.
Jasper! Jasper the gunslinger!
Busted.
Hey cats.
Loud noises at the table, Jasper.
Someone stole a decapple from a merchant's private residence last night.
Is that so?
It's a painting.
Sorry. This interaction will probably just be me freaking out with how excited I am. I love it. Pride of place.
Hello, Inesh.
Inesh!
Is looking for a crew willing to cross the fold into East Ravka and bring back something.
Ooh, is he now? This is an interesting way to bring the Six of Crows in. Well, all of them.
One girl, Kesh. She has skills. She's like me.
I only invest in the one of a kind.
Oh.
She isn't like you. No one is.
Oh gosh, it's just so much here.
What's our move now?
Mal? How the other half live?
That's not for me. It's for a friend.
As you eat it. We're meeting all of these beautiful, beautiful characters. I'm emotional. Could you imagine you're facing the fold and you're going to be prejudiced against people in your own army who don't look like you?
You tumbled a Grisha.
No. I was flat.
Lena.
Look, Grisha women scare me. Okay.
Do they now? Oh, even knowing what's going to play out, it's still like stressful.
Shoot you in the foot.
She,
Terrible shot.
Goes wrong. Come back. You've lost enough to it already.
they're doing such a good job of showing the bond between these characters
Find my way back to you.
and the reality of their world. Oh. And this terror of the fold. How on earth is Alina getting herself on there?
How's a safe way to cross the fold?
Either you take your time, or you take your chances.
Oh, my babies. I'm very murderous. Could kill me in a second, babies.
Here's what I don't get.
We're gonna be here all night.
Rude. Why crazy Greece?
The Black Heretic.
Yeah, the one who controls Shadow, right? They got one in their army now, don't they? General Kirigan?
Yes, they do.
His kind made it, can't he?
A son somewhere.
Right then, one of those.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist yet.
Priest who comes into town doesn't.
We can let this one go, guys.
Sounds like a trap, anyway.
A trap would sound easy.
Once he has a puzzle in mind, he can't let it go.
Pick a Rollins, those.
Of course he does.
Pecker Rollins.
I was not excited about seeing you.
You know who I am.
Black General's here to save the day.
Is he gonna tear down the boat?
He's being sarcastic.
Get to your post and back again. Get launches in 20. Sergeant!
Oh goodness. Just like Mark going over the top in the Wild West, isn't it?
Back before you know
Gotta cross it twice to get back.
And I'll be here the whole time.
A tale of unrequited, unrequited.
Cartographers, I mean.
Is she looking for a map that needs to be complete? Alina! Oh. Gonna need to send a map maker over.
Someone will have to cross the fold to redraw.
I'll do it!
I'll go. Put me on the skiff. I'll go.
Yes, you will. Your whole unit will.
Oh, yep. Added guilt for Alina.
Understand? We'll go.
What are you doing here?
We've been assigned with you.
Tell her I'm right now.
Orders, orders.
If you're going, she's going.
I could shoot you in the foot.
I like your feet. Thank you.
Tell him you're too sick to go.
I'm never that sick.
Lie if you have to.
And what's your
Oh,
line?
mhm.
I'm with you. I'll make it.
Don't worry, Mal. There's a reason she's sick all the time.
The only light we use is the blue one at the mast. It's weak, but safe.
But you're an Inferni, right? So why are you here if we're supposed to keep things dark?
Because
For when the dark comes to keep you.
Where's your general? Kirigan.
they're not a good job of, like, keeping them calm before they go in. Here they go. The Grisha put on a brave face, but they're scared too. Everyone is scared. You would feel like you need to hold your breath. Oh my god. I think I heard of Olga. Oh god. God, they're at Markle 1! That's not the blue light. What have you done?
What are you doing?
Oh my god. You brought that on yourself. Oh, they're hideous. Very real now. Oh my god. To Grisha and Peril too. Oh god. Oh god, no! Mal. Here we go. He's gonna be fine. Here we go, sweetheart. Hello, my darling sun summoner. Alexi made it.
The hydrant is gone, boss.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else got her.
You waste all your time. They went straight to it.
Pekka Rollins,
Yep.
Boss would call this dead watch on him as well.
which is why your boss is already dead.
Kaz is thinking 58,000 steps ahead.
Is Alexi Stepper?
I thought it might be Alexi.
Ago, young Alexi here crossed through the fog.
So they're 2 weeks behind what's happening with Alina.
Now you can just speak. And I will just listen.
Yep.
All right.
So epic.
Believe me, this was his son's summer now.
Her faith paid off. Oh, Nash.
Alina Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Alina Stark.
She's going to be very highly prized by the Ravkins.
You'll set me free now.
Thank you. Of course.
Yeah. Alexi. Cash keeps his cool.
You have until sunrise. Then your ship will have sailed, Mr. Brecken. The prize is 1 million cruise.
Does Pekka have a way across?
Now bring me Alina Stark.
Ooh, interesting. Tying the strands together. In a way I would not have expected. I just watched the first episode of Shadow and Bone and it was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. I think this episode did a really good job, in my opinion, and maybe it's different if you're not a book reader, but I think from having knowledge of the characters and what to expect, I think they did a really good job of portraying the sort of everyday life of the Ravkan First Army, portraying the Fold and the terror of the Fold, the fact that kind of the dynamic between the Grisha and the non-Grisha, I can't pronounce that word, and the kind of the way that some of the Grisha, or also kind of a lot of the Grisha, to be fair, view themselves as better than the people without their Grisha powers, but they kind of are all doing the same thing, and when it comes down to it, when you are in the Fold, you are just as scared as the next person, and just as likely to die as the next person. I think they did an extra special job of really portraying Mal and Alina's bond. I think there were glimpses of each of them feeling unrequited love for each other in a way, but what is just makes it difficult is because obviously in the book you're in Alina's head, you know what she's feeling, but in this they did a really good job of showing us Mal as a tracker, because obviously if you read the books, and if you haven't, you do know that he is a very talented tracker. That is kind of his role in the army, as a head tracker, and I just think, oh, it was just done so well with portraying these characters, that she's a map maker, that, you know, I don't know, something like that will make sense later is Mal's line about how, tell them you're too sick. I'm not always that sick. That line, because, you know, she's always been a bit weak and not quite as strong as anybody else because she's not been using any powers. They've been suppressed. Showing them at the orphanage, showing them their bond, they did such a brilliant job. And similarly, they did a really good job of showing the crows, Kaz being the boss. They didn't obviously show, his name is escaping me, he's like boss, but sort of showing Kaz kind of his menacing side, showing how everyone is afraid of him, how once he has a puzzle in front of him, he wants to solve it. At this point, he wants a million Kruger, who wouldn't, but his main thing is there is a puzzle that he has seen, he does not know how to solve it, and he wants to. And a chance to best. Pekka Rollins would never go astray. They really did a good job of showing kind of the fear the way his name carries. And I think, even though it's only been subtle so far because it's been one episode, we really got to know Inej and Jesper a little bit as well. Inej especially, I think they did a really good job. We know how skilled she is. You know, only a ghost could have stolen it, and then like Kaz has to paint on his wall. That was fantastic. Wonder which merchant's house that came from, hey? But for Inej to kind of, you see her appealing to Kaz about the other girls who are living the life that she was sold into, and the references to the indentures, you know, I'm paying off your indenture, I didn't buy you, that is one of the best things about Inej's character, is that she is fierce. She could, like, you know, if she's trying to fight you, just surrender. She's stealthy, like, she's Inej. She's fantastic. If you're watching the show, this is the first episode you've ever seen, you're gonna love Inej. Like, she's fantastic, but she has such a big heart, and she still believes in the saints. She still has faith despite everything, and she cares about people who are being mistreated, who are less fortunate, who are being taken advantage of and abused, and she wants to stop it. The harshness she has faced in life has not turned her hard. Kaz, underneath it all, is not quite as hard as he'd like you to believe, but he has definitely built up some barriers through his life experiences, let's put it that way. I'm interested to see how the show continues to deal with that. And then Jesper, the first time we meet him, he's gambling, of course, and sharpshooting. Jesper, I think the playful banter between these characters is already there. The fact that, like, they're dynamic with Kaz in the sense that, I mean, Inej has her own dynamic with Kaz, but like the way that kind of they're able to be themselves and playful and kind of, but when Kaz lays down the law, they get into line because he is Kaz Brecker. I'm just so excited. So I think something that is definitely needed, because I know a lot of people criticise the original Grisha trilogy because it's not that diverse when you read it. It's basically everyone's white. You do meet some characters later on, not a spoiler, from Shu Han or whatever. One of the characters becomes two women, end up sort of as a couple at some point, but other than that it's fairly lacking in diversity. Then Six of Crows is very diverse with like mental illnesses, all sorts of diversity, like just really kind of well-rounded book. And I think given the past of Mal and Alina being orphans in the orphanage in Karensin, who exactly their parents are is not vital to the plot, you know. So them being half from Shuhan and half Ravkin doesn't matter. And like it matters, but like it doesn't mean I'm not like, that's not Alina. Of course it is. I saw her there. She was being Alina like, he was being Mal like. I love it. And of course, you know, it's the sort of racism as such isn't to do with colonial pasts, or it's just because these countries border each other and they fight a lot. And especially since the fold has been there, Ravka would need access to Shuhan or Fiona, and they don't want to give it to them, etc. So like that's for kind of the past. And that these people who live such miserable lives in a lot of ways, they're always scared of the fold, they're always at war. Basically, Ravka, you know, every kid goes into the army, they're desperate to make a living and survive. It's easy to turn against people and to kind of have these prejudices, but you really would like to think that given everything you're facing, you could be supportive of the people around you, especially when they are wearing the uniform. You know, Lena was very clearly a soldier. I know she's a cartographer, but you know, she was very clearly in uniform working for Ravka, and yet he was still being like, oh, what's this Shuhan girl doing here? Those are the people I hope the Volk could eat. If only the Volk could hone in on people who are idiots. So Alina, making the decision that she had to go with Mal, so she burnt the maps, and now Alexei's dead. She will think it was in the fold. The map making girl's dead. Like, she got a lot of people killed, but there's no way she could have known it would go like that. And but there's no way she could have known they would want them all to go. She was willing to just, oh dear, I've messed up, I'll go and deal with it. in no way was she thinking they would send all of them. And that is going to be an interesting dilemma, because that is not something that happens in the books. In the books, Mal and Alina arrive at the fold with but all part of the same kind of wider regiment, and they're just going to be crossing. That's just a plan of action. So it's an added impact on Alina that she's made this decision and she's done this, and whether she's going to have blood on her hands in that sense, even though she then saved everybody else with her powers. The bond between Mal and Alina, you could really see that moment where she was lost, and when he said, you know, I'll meet you in the meadow. In that moment he was thinking, well, we're both going to die. This is a failure, like everyone here is dead. The guy that lit the flame, I mean, the Volga had basically found them. I know their blue light was gone, but the one rule was that we don't have light on this skiff, honestly. So I am just very intrigued with everything about how that's going to go with Alina, but seeing her powers. First of all, seeing the corporeal guy, the ethereal, I can't say those words, I'm so sorry. I read them and my brain just kind of knows what they are and doesn't pronounce them in my own head. Seeing their powers was brilliant, and then seeing Alina, seeing that sunlight burst out of her was everything. Especially kind of hearing like, oh, there's going to be a sun summoner, sun summoner, sun summoner, kind of all of these things around, like with Inej and her belief that one day the fold will be banished by a sun summoner. Now obviously it's nowhere near as easy as that, but that protected them, that kept them safe. She saved a lot of lives in the long run by being there. If she'd stayed home, more people would be dead than she's dead because of her decision. But in that moment, it's just so epic because it's a game changer for everybody. The fact that this somebody with sun summoning powers exists and is able to protect them in the fold is a huge game changer. And obviously what's next is how does she have them? How did she not get found as a child like all other Grisha are? I'm just excited. Seeing Zoya was lovely as well. I love Zoya. I mean, she's definitely an interesting character when you first meet her, but no, I love them all. Oh, and then the harsh realities of Ketterdam, similarly, you know, this really was an episode centred around people living in the grimmer aspects of the world. You know, we're soon going to be going, I imagine, to the Little Palace, as was mentioned, and places like that. We saw kind of the Grisha tent, we saw the house that Bremen's, whatever his name is, lived in. I'm just so intrigued. How on earth are the Crows, Kaz, Inej and Jesper going to find a way to cross the fold? Because you need Alina. Like, that's how you cross the fold. You need a sun summoner. And if they want them to go and kidnap a sun summoner, they'll have a way to get through on the way back. But on the way there, what is the plan going to be? I'm just so intrigued because, you know, obviously in the Six of Crows, we meet them 5 years after the events of the trilogy have come to a conclusion. And they go on a very different mission with some other characters that I miss. And I'm just, oh, it's just so fascinating to think how these things are going to piece together. That's always been my biggest mystery. My biggest question mark has been, how are the Crows going to be mixed in with the Shadow and Bone trilogy? And I do wonder if they're going to somehow make it across. Are they going to get drawn into the events that are happening there? What is going to happen? I have babbled a lot. I don't know if I've made much sense, but I really think this episode did a brilliant job of doing kind of not subtle world building, because it was very obviously world building, but it wasn't like, hello, sit down, I am going to talk you through a map. They did a very good job of kind of introducing these characters, who they are at their baselines, what their lives were like before all of these extra special events happened, and what the concept of the fold in Ravka and with the different borders with Fjerda, the Shuhan, Ketterdam, and obviously the more we delve into the universe, the more we're in the show, the more you will understand about it. But I'm so excited to keep watching this show. I'm going to be binging it today and tomorrow. I am just ready. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, you can find the unedited version of these reactions on my Patreon. Get those 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and I really hope some people are here to come on this journey with me, and I hope you love it as much as I do. Thank you for watching.